It really is. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I was, dating myself again, but that champion came on. If you are watching, please, I'm asking you for a personal favor. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell thing so you can be reminded. Every Monday, we're coming at you. I have said, what's next? I can't remember. What's next? I have no idea what we're doing next. I forgot.
Another day, another dollar as I holler to the world. I love the way I'm living, love the Gucci, love the girls, love the parties and the clubs, love the models and hot tubs, love the German engineering set on deep dish dubs. Another tour around the world, entertaining the fans. I love walking through the airport, taking pictures, shaking hands. Every day for me's an oyster, crack it open, find the pearl. I love the way I live is what I holler to the world.
Welcome back to Marking Out with MVP and Dwayne Swayze. How you doing, brother?
I just had a flashback. Young girls look so good, but their brain is not ready. I don't know. I'd rather talk to a woman because her mind is so steady. So here we go. That's a little reggae mixed in with some KRS-One. And it's like, I'm doing it again, man. I'm dating myself. I know.
That's good music, though, man.
It is.
That's good music.
It really is. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I was, dating myself again, but that champion came on. Walk like a champion, talk like a champion. What a piece of body, girl. Tell me where you get it from. Knock on your entrance. Rum, pum, 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 pum. Girl, let me in. Me got the thing that you're weird, pun. That is like, that still, when that comes on, that is.
Miami Times Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan behind the camera was down for Art Basel week. He was regaling us with his stories. Ryan don't around. This crew right here, we're except when he's a married man.
There we go, guys.
So he literally doesn't around.
I'm not involved with whatever they got going over here, man. I love you, baby.
And here's the beauty. I told you, we shoot these 3 and 4 episodes at a time. And if you notice, we crack a bottle and the bottle goes down. So by the time we get to like the 3rd episode, this is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's must-see TV now.
Ask me about Triple H after I have. Bret Hart ain't never told a lie. Anyway, let's keep moving.
10-4. 10-4. So you ready for the first question?
I am ready.
All right. So before the show, how much ring time do you get to lay out a match, and who schedules it?
You say before the show.
Mm-hmm.
What show are we talking about? Are we talking about a local indie show? Are we talking about Monday Night Raw? Are we talking about Dynamite?
Yeah, let's talk Dynamite or Raw.
All right, well, things are a little different how the companies are run. So at AEW, you usually know who you're working with. Call time is usually at 2 Eastern time. And you usually know what you're doing that day, who you're working with, depending, 4 or 5 o'clock. Unless you're in an angle with someone, then you already know. It's just a matter of what are you doing. As far as rehearsals and who schedules the time, very different atmosphere. Whereas at AEW, there are rehearsals, and usually the producer of that match will ask everybody to clear the ring for a rehearsal for something specific. When I was at WWE, I don't know if they still do it the same way, but before, they usually had somebody who was out all afternoon. They're doing rehearsals. So you got people that can get in the ring and just kind of mess around, but at a certain point, clear the ring, we need it for rehearsals. And for a long time, Vince used to be right there with the headset on, leading rehearsals.
Wow.
Communicating with the truck. And then it got to a point where he was no longer there. One of his underlings would be there running rehearsals. But it would be a team effort, like rehearsals at this time for you, and then we get through it, and then for you, and then for you, and then once everything's done, we got all the rehearsals we need. You can have the ring back to walk around or whatever. AEW is a little different, and where it's not like Tony Khan isn't there at ringside, hands-on with directing how he wants things to appear on television. That was a Vince thing. He was very hands-on. But kudos to Vince. I'll never forget one afternoon in the ring doing a rehearsal with me and Matt Hardy, where he actually said, I want you guys to get more involved in producing your segments. He said, MVP, I want you to get more involved in directing your segments. I was like, I didn't know I could do that. He said, of course you can. And this is how you're learning. I was like, oh, okay. So now it's something I do automatically. If I'm in a segment, I'm directing and producing automatically in my mindset. I'm already thinking about blocking, who's standing where we're moving. Sometimes there are segments in AEW with like some of the lesser talent. They don't know yet because no one's taught them. So there's been a few times where I said, hey, we got to do this. You guys don't have experience doing this. Let's rehearse now so there's no mistakes made in front of the camera. And, those guys were very open to it. Yes.
Right.
And then, you got to think about camera positioning, blocking, who's walking where, So the time for rehearsal is, generally what you need, but it's a rehearsal. Everything has to be perfect. It's usually more about making sure people are where they need to be for the camera.
Does every match on the card get ring time?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
You only need rehearsal for vignettes, or not but in-ring vignettes. If we're going to have a talking match and then there's some physicality.
Okay.
Who's running in from where, who's going out which way, so you can just understand there's no clutter. Matches are matches. You don't need to rehearse a match. Maybe if there's something specific in the match, like at AEW, sometimes I'll see the luchadors in the afternoon. There's like something really crazy that they're going to do. They'll get in there and you'll see them kind of walk through it and bounce. Okay. Certain stunts that require, not just wrestling, outside stuff, they'll do that. But for a regular match, you don't need rehearsal. There's no rehearsal for a match unless there's something very specific in it with placement or timing or something that needs it. But otherwise, you go out there and work. Rehearsals are for like specific segments with a lot of the time, especially if you're using extras who aren't used to being on television and who don't understand cues, where to stand, where to move. That's stuff that you need to do to make sure that they know where they need to be, where they need to go, how they need to go, et cetera, et cetera.
So like VIP lounge, you would walk through?
Always do a walkthrough for the VIP lounge. Always, yeah.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be where we do the whole thing, but it would primarily be placement, cues. Okay, at this point, I'll say this, and then they'll hit this person's music and they'll come down. I wasn't ready yet, or physicality, what's going to happen. And so usually like those interview talking segments, in-ring stuff like that, we'll get a rehearsal. But matches don't get rehearsals.
Okay. If somebody needs time though, and they can't get out into the ring.
Need time for what?
Just to walk through a spot or something like that.
That's on you.
It's on you. Okay.
Yeah. If you need time to walk through a spot, maybe you shouldn't be doing that spot.
10-4.
And if it's that important to the match, to the television, then time will be created for you. But if it's just you have a match and there's just one thing that you want to do that you need rehearsal, well, you got to get in to fit in. Because there's time before rehearsals, and then people are in there kind of going through their stuff. You've been there. You see how it is. People are kind of working around with it. But, if it's something major, then they'll make time, or you can request to your coach at AEW, hey, can we have time for this? And they'll block out the ring for that. But, just for a match, a basic bell-to-bell match, you don't need no rehearsal. And if you do, then you might be above your pay grade. It's my take.
So I know we haven't started my training yet officially. So this next question, is not about me, but you'll see what I was thinking. So if your opponent keeps forgetting the plan, how do you guide them back without the crowd noticing?
Oh, easy. Some of the most famous words in professional wrestling. Grab a hold! You hear veterans tell rookies all the time, grab a hold. You get lost, grab a hold. Something go wrong, grab a hold. Again, but that's the beauty of professional wrestling. I know nowadays a lot of the younger talent are used to laying everything out spot for spot, step for step. And I feel like there's a cycle on that. Like when you first start out, you don't want to mess anything up, so you memorize everything. And then after you get more experience, you get comfortable in the ring. And you get comfortable because now you know how to work. So you don't need to memorize everything, especially if you're working with another pro. We know what we're doing. We know where we're going. You know my stuff. I know your stuff. And we can kind of lay an outline and then go out there and work. And if I forget something, we have a saying through the years, a spot, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, headlock, for example. You know, we have a thing, we go tackle, drop down, oh.
Yeah.
As long as you don't make the face, then anything can happen. If you forget, now, it all depends on what you forget. Like, if I take a bump and I lay down because you're supposed to go up and hit a splash, and I see you over there selling in the corner, call the ref over and, hey, ref, tell him to go for the splash. So the communication happens where I've said in the past where we'll use the ref and tell the ref, hey, remind him. You know, and if I'm calling to the ref for something and the ref comes over and, you know, the ref says something to me, that doesn't look suspicious. Nothing seems funny about that. Right. But I just told the ref, tell us, take his ass up there and hit that splash, you know. There have been plenty of times when I have said, what's next? I can't remember. What's next? I have no idea what we're doing next. I forgot. And whoever I'm working with is gracious enough to remind me, you know, yeah, go over there. You know, oh, yeah, you know. But typically, you grab a hold of some sort and work them down and talk to them.
Okay. Or
talk to the ref. It's usually just a communication thing. You just talk. And, you know, like, I could make it look like I'm talking to you and I'm telling you, hey, man, block this punch and kick me in the nuts. You know, like, people, oh, MVP talking that shit. Oh, and I just told him what to do, you know. Many years ago, Pandemic Pete.
Mm-hmm. The legend.
During the PC era, I was doing commentary for a main event. And then I had to do VIP lounge. And then I had to go put on my wrestling gear because there was a tag match against the, I don't even know what they're called now, the Viking Experience, the War.
Oh, they've changed a lot. Yeah,
they keep changing their names. But two great guys, man. Those guys are dope, and they can work their asses off. And they worked in Japan for quite a bit. And I had never worked with them before. And this was a real cool thing about pro wrestling at the elite level. I never worked with these guys before, but you know, we have a mutual respect. And we're in the back talking, and we're, you know, basically they're putting a match together, and they assured me that this is how they let me know that they were good, they were safe, because they know about my love for Japanese wrestling, my time in Japanese wrestling. And they explained to me that while they were in Japan, they worked a lot with Tenzan and Kojima, who, by the time they got there, these guys were a little older, had beaten the fuck out of their bodies and had endured some major injuries. If you're working on a program with Tenzan and Kojima, they ain't gonna work with you very long if you them up. You know what I'm saying? So for you to be working with Tenzan and Kojima is a testament to how good you can work, because you're working at a very high level, but you're also taking care of some vets that are beat up, you know? And in a quick, you know, because things are moving. We got to go. We got to shoot. And they're like, hey, man, we just want to let you know, like, just so you know, like, we work with Tenzan and Kojima. So that was their way of letting me know, like, we're okay. And I understood that right away.
Right.
I had to go do some other shit. So I said, man, you guys just put the match together and plug me in. And I had to go. So by the time the match actually came, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going on.
In your gear, making your way to the ring, no clue.
I mean, a little bit here and there, but like as far as what we're doing in the ring, I don't know.
Okay.
And when I get in there, I'm working with them, and they're, you know, we're working, and they're saying, okay, stay right here. I'm going to tag in Todd. He's going to hit this. Boom, boom. And Todd is like, okay, man, I got you. You want to do this? Boom, boom. Like they're talking to me as the match is happening, telling me, be here, go over there, sell right there, fight back on this. I'm going to cut you up. I had no idea what I was doing. I was plugged in, but I was working with elite professionals who were able to, with me having no clue what was going on, point me through. And I don't know what's next. Like, I'm like, what are we doing next?
Yeah,
you know?
That's wild.
But they were so professional that, and also they make it look like they are banging you up. Their shit looks good, but they are pros. Nothing hurt, not even a little bit. But it looks, when he comes with that knee, oh my God, that shit looks brutal. Easy. So that's the beauty of when you're at an elite level and you really know what you're doing. You don't have to have a whole bunch of stuff memorized. And I just went back to when I was a rookie. Just listen, kid. And if guys know what they're doing, they will lead you. And if you have wrestling instincts and you understand how to sell and feed up, that's the easy part. So, man, I was just thinking like, man, that was so cool, man. Like I remember and after that, we got to be tight because I'm like, oh, these brothers can work.
Right.
They get it. They know what they're doing. So,
unrelated though, P, how did those TVs work in the PC during pandemic P time?
That was crazy, man. It was a crazy time for everybody because we're all trying to figure it out in real time. Watching the PC turn into a little arena. Then they started putting up the plexiglass, and then first we were in there wrestling in front of no audience, and then they thought, wait a minute, we got all these developmental people sitting home collecting the check.
Yeah.
Bring their asses into work to be the audience, you know. And what was interesting is that for a little while, because we weren't live, but we were live to tape, so it got to the point where they were stopping stuff. Wait, stop. Okay, and they were adjusting, and they would show us on the screen, okay, hold on, get back to that position before. And I remember thinking like,
y'all weren't live.
For a little while.
Oh.
No, for a little while. And it was like, this is me up. Stop, start, because that's not how I work.
Yeah.
That's not what I've learned. That's not how I've been trained. And I said, this is also going to be bad for some of these younger talent that are getting brought up that have never been on a live Monday Night Raw, you know? But then there was something that came about, I guess, I don't want to be wrong, but I guess with the network and everything about we're paying for live television. And that's the key. It's live. Especially during the pandemic, there was nothing live. WWE and AEW were the only things going live. And so while there were segments early on where they got into the thing where they kept doing stop, start, record, it didn't take long before they were like, no, we're going back to full live. No more timeouts. No more if you forget, if you screw up. Because even I remember I was doing a promo for the VIP lounge and I fucked something up. And for the first time ever, cut.
You called it.
Yeah, I said, hey, hold on, I that up. Can we do that again? Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get comfortable doing that. No, absolutely not. So it was a wild time. And then that was weird adjusting to that, you know, and then getting back into, okay, we're live. And then once we got to the point where we moved from the PC to the Thunderdome, okay, now we're back in business.
And Thunderdome, is that the TVs?
Thunderdome was when they had the screens.
Yeah, that's Thunderdome.
Yeah, that was the Thunderdome. All of that was live.
Okay.
Live, yeah.
Okay.
They never did any recordings for the Thunderdome. The only time they did recording was the PC era.
Okay.
That was, you know, when there was stop, start, and it wasn't. All of them weren't live. And the network was like, we're paying for live television. And we got back to live. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
If someone has a reputation for being unsafe, how do you protect yourself without killing the match?
That goes two ways. On the one hand, if you have gotten yourself to a point in professional wrestling, you could say, I ain't working with that dude. Or if that person says, hey, I want to do this, and you just go, no, I'm not comfortable taking that. I don't really want to do that. If you're a little further down the tier and you don't really have any say-so, you can always say no. And unfortunately, you know, sometimes there will be backlash that doesn't favor you if you say no. Unfortunately, that's working life. When you work for someone else and they want you to do something that you don't want to do, you can say no. But will you have a job the next day if you do? Will you get called back? That's the tough part. You know, sometimes somebody who has been around longer or has a little more cachet will want to, you know, I want to do this move, I want to do that move, and you're saying, I'm not comfortable taking that. it can be a problem. But protect yourself at all times. And remember, half of pro wrestling is making the other person look better than they are. There's maybe 2 or 3 people in all of pro wrestling that can do something to me that I don't want them to do. You know? Like, if Shelton Benjamin wants to suplex you, you don't have to jump.
You're going to get suplexed.
He's going for that ride. If Brock Lesnar grabs you and wants to throw you, you don't have to jump. You going, you know? But, you know, sometimes people pick you up. We call it sandbagging. When you go to lift somebody up and they don't help you. But sandbag, you can make somebody look bad unintentionally because this guy's supposed to be super strong and he's supposed to lift you up and you go heavy on him and he can't get you up. Now you look bad. But that's also a way to protect yourself because sometimes these people will, what we say, take liberties. I didn't say you could pick me up to do that. I don't trust you to pick me up to do that. So I'm a sandbag. No, brother, I'm not cool with that. Or no.
So that's a way to get out of it if they start getting reckless, like in the ring once you're already in there?
Yeah, just, okay. No, you can't pick me up and throw me, you know, or grab a hold.
Grab a hold.
Grab a hold. And in our business, you know, it's not like it used to be, but what we've talked about receipts. You hurt me. I'll let you have that one. You hurt me again. Hey, brother, tighten up. You're kind of soppy. You hurt me again. You getting a receipt now. You getting a live round coming back at you. Some people don't let you get a few of them before they get in. You know, you get one shot, bam. Oh, what the hell, man? Bam, it's coming right back. So hopefully, most of the time, you're in the ring with a person that wants to have a great match, doesn't want to get hurt, doesn't want anyone to get hurt. And the days of, you know, beating up job guys, that's over. You know, if you look at some of the old footage of like what the Steiners and the Road Warriors used to do the job guy, like, oh man, it's cringe to watch sometimes. Like they cared nothing about those human beings and their physical state. Clotheslining people out of their boots, you know. That's not so much a thing anymore. And if someone has a reputation for being dangerous, nowadays they're not going to make it that far. I mean, that was the thing back in the day, but now there aren't too many people that have a reputation for hurting people. You just won't be around that long because there's too much money involved. If you're hurting stars aren't going to want to work with you. Companies aren't going to want to use you because you're putting their stars on the shelf. So if you're an up-and-coming guy and you're working with someone who has a reputation for hurting people, protect yourself. Say no. Don't let them do what they want to do to you. And, you know, if necessarily, you might need to send a few live rounds down range. You know, like, hey, man, back up, you know. It's just so different now. You know, so... And then you guys, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. For you independent wrestlers that are still out there, are there still people out there actively working, getting booked on the regular that have a reputation for being dangerous, for hurting people? I haven't been in the indie scene. I mean, I still work some here and there, but it's not something I hear. I'm sure they're out there, but it's not something I hear about like I used to back in the days, you know? And, you know, nowadays, if you're a top guy at AEW or WWE, you became a top guy because you don't hurt people. And you don't let people hurt you. And if you're smart, you're not trying to hurt somebody who's a top guy because that's the quickest way to get your career kiboshed. So just, you know, like they say in boxing, protect yourself at all times. I mean, you can't protect yourself from a live round you didn't know was coming. Right. But you can damn sure send one back, you know. And hey, sometimes I've seen guys, and I even did this when I was younger, youthful exuberance. Hey, let's apologize before we go out there. I'm going to apologize in advance. It's going to be rough. They coming. But we'll just go ahead and say sorry now and get it out the way, you know. And I think it was Vampiro. I think I heard Vampiro say, yo, what the is it? They're apologizing before the match. Like, why? What do you, I don't want any parts of that. No, man. If you make a mistake, apologize to me after, but don't go out there knowing you're going to bang me up talking about I'm sorry beforehand, you know. So, yeah, protect yourself at all times. And I know that's not necessarily the most detailed, intrinsic answer, but I mean, at this stage of the game, you shouldn't be hurting people. And, you know, if you're a promoter, you shouldn't be using people that are known for hurting people. You know, that's just bad business for everybody.
You gotta load that back up, man. Good touch there. Thank you, sir. For those of you guys listening on the audio only, MVP is pouring up the Yamazaki 18 right now. We're back fully loaded.
From the house of Suntory. For relaxing times, make it Suntory times. If you get the reference, mention it in the comments. If you don't, then catch up.
But P, man, it was late night, I don't know, a week or so ago. I got on the Peacock, couldn't sleep, and pulled up some old, it might have been Saturday Night Main Event, or it may have just been like a Macho Man special or something where it's just a bunch of his matches. And I was watching it, and I don't know if it's me remembering from being a kid or whatever, but the pace of the matches that were on this show I was watching, the movements, it just looked so much realer than what I see in today's wrestling. And I was just wanted to bring that up to you, get your thoughts on it.
So it's kind of cool because everything evolves. And here on the show, we've talked about before the evolution of fight choreography in movies. When I grew up, I remember watching Westerns, and they'd have the barroom brawls, and there'd be the block, punch, and, everything was kind of slow. And then as things evolved, then in the 80s, all of a sudden you got martial arts, and you got jumping spin kicks, and, things kind of changed. And then the 90s, here comes Van Damme.
Yeah.
And then the 2000s hit, and now everyone's doing kung fu, and, Jason Statham is the transporter, and he's, and now when you watch the Avengers, Captain America and Iron Man are fighting Wing Chun, everything evolves. Nowadays, most of the wrestling you see on television, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of it is choreographed. And that's why it looks choreographed, because it's put together that way. Whereas back in the day, a lot of it was kind of called on the fly. So it wasn't so smooth, and it was a little bit more rough. But I remember, and here's a little homework for those of you who are real wrestling nerds. Go watch Jack Briscoe against Dory Funk Jr. for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. You watch that match, and it's scientific wrestling. That looks real. There's no foot stomping with punches. The way they're grappling and throwing each other, that looks real. And I remember watching that years ago and saying to myself, oh, now I remember why I used to think it was real. Some of it, like you said, the pacing, how they were moving, the moves that they were doing were believable. Nowadays, you get somebody slung into the rope and they come bounce off the rope into a waiting drop kick. It's like, but that goes back even then. But here's something that's crazy, right? So, everything's generational. When, I'm trying to think who it was. It said, was it Gotch? Or was it Thez? I think it was Thez. I think it was Lou Thez was talking about a multi-time NWA champion who he felt was a spot monkey. His stuff looked too choreographed. It looked too, this is Thez, Lou Thez, the legendary Lou Thez, who was a legitimate guy. He was a guy they put you in there with if you didn't want to lose the belt kind of thing. And he was in there with five-time NWA champion, Harley Race. Now you go back and you look at Harley Race and you watch how Harley Race is working, and you spot monkey. But then you look at Lou Thez. Look how Lou Thez worked. Look what Lou Thez was doing, multi-time champion. And then just, not too much longer afterwards, here's Harley Race. People praise Harley Race. Harley Race was a tough guy. He was known. Harley Race was the guy that the NWA sent with Ric Flair to Japan when he was going to defend the NWA belt in Japan. sent Harley with him, So Harley got respect, and Harley kept the pistol too. If he couldn't handle you, he could handle you.
Yeah, get the strap, Harley.
Right. If Harley had to get the strap, it was out of control. So yeah, just do that. Go watch Jack Briscoe and Dory Funk Jr. NWA Championship match. Watch the timing and the pace of that match. That match looks real. I don't think there's a leapfrog in it. I don't think. It's two guys who are amateur wrestlers, first in grappling, putting on a realistic, believable performance for the NWA World Championship. But those were wrestling shows. Now we make television shows. So the evolution has gone, from what it used to be to what it is. And now, like I said, when you go to the movies, you don't see any more punch block fight scenes. Everything is high speed cables and wires and, martial arts and jumping, spinning, Wrestling television isn't that different. Like we love Rey Mysterio. He's the greatest luchador of all time. But Rey Mysterio ain't doing all that acting. Rey Phoenix and Pac and Ospreay, they ain't doing all that in a real fight, But it's entertaining as hell to watch.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's one of the biggest things that I think the evolution of wrestling to what it is, from what it was to what it is. It used to be a wrestling show. Now it's a television show. So the presentation and the consumption are different. I hope that I answered that for you.
10-4.
But the presentation and consumption of Yamazaki 18 is different. And this is like sweet nectar of the gods. If you know, you know. And if you don't, then I hope one day you get a chance to find out. And I will say this. On occasion, I have been at the bar, a hotel bar, or, someplace, and there's been a wrestling fan who recognized me, offered to buy me a drink. Hey, MVP, can I have a drink? Let's have a drink together. Like, what you drinking? I'm like, what's your budget?
Fireball. What if they tell you Fireball?
I tell them, get the away from me. I literally say, get the out of here, man. I drink whiskey-flavored whiskey. Don't bring me no fruity cinnamon, big red flavored whiskey. Whiskey-flavored whiskey. You know how long it took me to develop a palate for whiskey? Like, I don't know very many people that sip whiskey for the first time and went, oh my God, where is that bit? I remember being a little kid. And I used to watch Westerns, Big Valley, Nick Barkley and Heath, and they'd be in these barroom brawls. And I remember watching them order whiskey or some of the old Westerns, and you see they grab the bottle and pull the cork out with their teeth. And they just pouring, they just throwing it back. And I see dudes chugging whiskey straight from the bottle. Yeah, okay. So me and my little brother, we're playing cowboys. And I would go to the refrigerator and I would get a bottle of Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, boy.
And I would pour it into the cap, take it like it was a shot, shooting Worcestershire sauce. And when we used to, because we were poor, so we used to have that cheap iced tea with the scoop.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
And we would put it in a plastic jug and shake it really hard because then it got the bubbles on the top. And I'll play like that's beer. We'd be drinking beer and shooting Worcestershire sauce. But I remember like my father and his sisters, they would drink sometimes and they would let us get a little sip.
All right.
And I remember the very first time I took a sip of some cognac. I just remember like thinking, why would anybody drink that? What the hell is that? And later on, I was a little bit older, and on the way home from school is when I lived in Opa-locka. Opa-locka is a terrible place to grow up. It's a much better community now. Still got its problems, but when I was growing up, it was, for a little while, per capita murder rate. It was the drugs and all that. And I was walking home, and I found a bag. Somebody stashed a bunch of bottles of liquor in this little empty lot. And a bunch of them were broken, but some were still closed. I don't know how the bottle got there. I don't know what happened. But I just saw like, oh man, some of these bottles are sealed. So I thought I could give some of these bottles to some of the grown-ups I know in my apartment building. But I'm going to keep one. I remember it was a bottle of Cutty Sark.
Cutty Sark?
Cutty Sark. Don't drink it.
That sounds like Ripple.
It's some kind of cheap mixed whiskey. I can't, we'll have to look it up because I know it's a brand that's been around for a long time. I don't know if they make it if it's good, top, middle, bottom. But I remember I took that bottle home and I snuck it. I'm a little bit older now. Maybe it's time for me to taste some whiskey. I remember my mom wasn't home and I dug the bottle out the stash and I cracked it and I poured it just a little bit in the glass and I put the top on it and I looked at it and I smelled it and I'm like, oh man. And I took a sip of that Cuddy Sark and I made the same face I did a few years earlier. I went through that out.
You're done.
Nah, I ain't drinking that. That's awful. But somehow years later, 40 some odd years later, here I am enjoying the taste of whiskey, scotch, bourbon, especially if it's 21-year-old plus single malt. Like, it took me a long time to develop this palate. How dare you disrespect and insult my palate by offering me cinnamon flavored whiskey? Listen, this is the truth. I'm not even joking. From the depths of my soul, Fireball could offer me $1 million an episode to put their bottle here and drink it. I would not take it. Thanks, but no thanks. He'd be pissed off at me. But it's no, we don't drink that here. And I wouldn't put my face on that for you to drink. Now, I won't lie and say that on occasion, Crown, they come out with some flavor stuff that's like, man, they got this salted caramel Crown. My son's uncle poured a little bit of that for me with some Dr. Pepper. I was like, ooh.
Oh, really?
Okay. Hold on a second.
Right on.
I might have to change my tune a little bit, But generally, I don't want no cut, man.
No, right on.
And if it's 21 and older, you don't need no cut. Now, granted, a Crown and Coke, Jack and Coke, that's all right.
Is there such thing as Yamazaki?
I'll punch you in the mouth right now. Listen, if I see you drinking Yamazaki and you pour some cola in it, incoming drive-by kick is coming. How dare you? Don't you dare.
Yeah, don't cut the Yamazaki.
Big trouble. An ice cube, I'll accept. A little bit of water, I'll accept. But we will fight if you put some damn cola in this. No, absolutely not. I don't know what you think. We got an episode?
Think we're done, man.
Again. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Every Monday we do this. Every Monday you hang out with us. And if it's your first time hanging out with us, then thanks for joining us. We do this every week, man. And we would love it if you would subscribe. And listen, hold on. Let me touch something real quick. If you're here with us right now, I appreciate it. We got a couple 100,000 people a week tuning in. But we got 5, 6, 7,000 subscribers. I mean, what's the subscriber count now?
A little under 8,000.
A little under 8,000. We don't even have 10,000 subscribers, but we got 200,000 people in our first 3 or 4 days watching.
Come on, guys.
If you are watching, please, I'm asking you for a personal favor. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell thing so you can be reminded. Every Monday we're coming at you. Like for the algorithm so that more people can discover us. Comment. Engage us in the comments. We engage. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Give us some feedback.
Do you like Fireball? Put it in the comments.
You might get cussed out, but yes, put it in the comments for sure. And thanks for hanging out with us. We're really having a good time doing this.
Yeah,
and we're glad that you're enjoying it too. Anything else?
No, sir.
Well, then, on that note, take us home.
See ya, Space Cowboys.
I just lay back in something new. Whiskey 21 and over, low ball. Make it too neat. Dizzer from Harlem. Yeah, I'm from Houston, off of Fondren. Mike Mazan and real world flow. Plant these seeds in the streets and in weeks. Watch it blossom. Dark night, riding on chrome, swinging through Gotham. It's me and P, repaving these roads.